silence that before I should silence that. Hello. Hello, good morning, hello. Welcome once again to Dork Duck Weekly? Occasionally? we're figuring it out. Good morning, Sam. Good morning, Shiki. Good morning, Lindsay. Good morning, Kashil. Hello everyone. Good morning, Snoopy. Congrats on first Snoopy. Sam says also I think there's two intro songs playing. Oh, I'm sorry. I did not catch that. I'm apologize. Also, I'm sorry it took us 8,000 years to get going. Um, Lots of changes are happening. If you are unawares, Snoopy says I only heard one. Curious. Let me click there for a second. Bear with me. I think that might technically be true. No, it's only one, maybe. Huh. I think just the one. But regardless, there we go. That fixed it. Another one that's like guitar and sax with the more twangy one is under it too. Okay. Now the twangy one's back. Huh. I will look into it. I'll figure out what's going on. But good morning. For those of you that don't hang out in our Discord, where we have some changes a coming. And I appreciate everyone's patience over the last like 2 weeks. In some ways like the last month where we just kept saying like, hey, we need this current schedule is not working for us. We need to find a new working schedule. And we'll get to something that works. We'll get to something that makes sense in future times. And we just kept saying we were going to figure it out and then just kept, not figuring out because we had a lot of life happening. We had graduation stuff and we had like hauling out things into trash bins, which they still haven't picked up, by the way. I paid for a trash bin for 5 days and
Did you close the bin,
I
by
did
the way,
I
last
did
night?
I
And
did
shut the garage.
I closed the trash bin.
Okay, I was gonna say, because last night there was stuff happening out there and I heard it, but I was in that state of like half.
Oh, like critters.
I have no idea.
Okay.
But
Yeah, I definitely forgot to close the garage probably, but I did close the big trash bin thing. But
that's good.
Sam says, Lena, I saw your art like yesterday. I know I'm super late, but it's very cute.
Thank you, Sam.
Ideas. Yes. We got it for like, it's supposed to be for 5 days. They make you call and be
Am
like,
I allowed to go get a Dr. Pepper real quick?
yeah, why would
Okay, I just wanted to ask because we were talking about important stuff. So
I
didn't want to be not present.
For 3 days or 5 days to the thing, and then you have to call on the last day and be like, hey, yo, we done filled it, you can go. Which at the time there was more things that we wanted to get in there, but we only so many spoons, and then they've still not grabbed it. And I did do the thing and call. And so last night I was like running and like being like, okay, well, we got more stuff in there that we can throw in there, so let's get that stuff in there. And that we're not being charged for these extra days, so it's kind of a nice little bonus. But so we had that going on. We had he blends in with the bed. You punched him in the stomach? He okay? Our black cat blends in with the blanket, and so I think one of us at least once a month accidentally assaults him because he just blends in with whatever environment. If Lena's not coming through, who got punched? Pete got punched.
Well, it was his body instead of the pillow.
Yeah. He looks like he's doing okay though. He says two things lately, and I love it so much. Two, I'm in the process of watching The Pit. I think I'm episode 13. Excellent. Yeah, The Pit is incredible. It's one of the best TV shows I've ever seen. And I know that how much I actually love medical shows typically. That show's incredible. I've seen a lot of people get like super obsessed with Skyrim again lately. I'm not saying you're fitting into this category, but there's a weird with Oblivion Remastered happening and a bunch of us going like, "Oh my gosh, yes. Oblivion, our like childhood game of lore." It wasn't even childhood that I played Oblivion, but like but our game that we got obsessed with first before Skyrim that we feel is superior because that's how the old men work. I've seen like a bunch of people just like flock to Skyrim and be like, "No, Skyrim." Um, and it's been interesting because the two don't have to go against each other, guys. It's you're allowed to just like things. It doesn't have to be a competition. Phil says there's a resurgence every now and again for Skyrim in perpetuity. Yes, I think they sell it for toasters now. Sam says as an outsider to Elder Scrolls, Skyrim seems so wildly overwhelming. Tiki says, yeah, that's how Skyrim works in my mind. I crave it for weeks, play it for weeks, and put it down for months. Same. Although Sam says Shiki has like 12 houses for orphans and gardens. Yeah, I never mess with any of the house stuff in that game. It's always the interesting thing when it comes to like games like that. Like Fallout 4 is my least favorite Fallout, and Lena will be like, but it's my favorite because of all the house building stuff, and we're like, oh yeah, I didn't do any of that at all, nor did I have any desire to. But like, and I wish they would have put that effort into like narrative stuff, but it's just people play games for different reasons. That's okay. You also have a Buffy mod. What's your Buffy mod for Skyrim? You sent me screenshots. Okay, I will check them out. But yeah, whilst I'm checking out screenshots, okay, these are amazing. That's pretty cool. I approve of the Buffy mod. She sent me screenshots of her murdering the master. Sam says Shiki also likes the house building in Fallout 4 and in 76. Yeah. That's Lena's whole thing. She loves all the house building, the base building stuff. Yeah, so on our end, I kind of walked through it in the Discord. I'll give it somewhat of summary of it here. It's like back in March of 2018 when this whole Dork Duck thing was starting off. At the time, my sister had gone to like I don't even know. Do you remember conversationally at the time, was Julie even in a state of just like I want to run a bookstore at that point? Because her stuff just kept, it reminds me of like my early comic day stuff where it was just like it took off very like quickly.
What do you mean? What are you asking?
Like in the earliest days was she like, I'm gonna open a bookstore eventually, or like,
No, she was always like, she wasn't like always like, yes, I'm gonna split off from you, but she was definitely like, this is what I want to be doing is the bookstore.
okay,
There was like, I mean, I'm sure like there was like eventually I'd like to have my own space, but there wasn't like a I'm gonna get out of here as soon as possible space
yeah.
in there
I'm just
either.
well, I was trying to even remember because like in the earliest days, she just had like a consignment shelf in
Yeah, and
my
then it like changed.
and it kept growing and changing and like and like it at about the point simultaneous to like Selena helping out more and more at the shop and especially on this end of what we do for the shop, like doing the live comic sales and doing all that stuff. That had basically become full-time being Selena. Like anytime that it was just like, okay.
Well, I mean, less so. Didn't I had a full-time job
Yeah,
before, and then I chose to quit my job because like schedule changed. Like I could work there full time,
right.
but it just looked different than if I would have quit my job sooner, I guess.
Yeah. Well, at that point that you quit though, you were helping a lot with eBay stuff and you were helping with live
Oh yeah, I was
sales
literally
stuff.
going from my job to the store, like the comic store. Um or I was going from the comic store to my job,
Yeah.
like on days that I closed.
And so in addition to that, it was like this weird thing of just like, okay, well, uh with my sisters taking over half the shop, it turned into like, hey, I'll cover these days and you cover these days. And I think even in her head, like, cuz she was doing the thing where she had like a part-time real life job. She was like, Jeff will get a part-time real life job.
And instead, we started this project because we could.
And that's how our brains work and that's how our
Well, also, like, it's different because you've been doing comic selling longer than she was doing book selling. This isn't me being like, you're better. I'm just saying, like, she had to get a part time job. Like, you technically did not.
yeah.
Like, you could afford to supplement your, or not, you could afford to not supplement your income with extra income. I mean, technically, like, everybody could probably, like, at that time like benefit from a second job, but like instead you were like, well, I would rather put my time and effort into this
Into building
other
something.
project.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Um and I think this thing happens a lot where I do stuff like that and just I get it, not everyone's brains works like mine. And I was trying to build this into a thing. In some ways, like Dork Duck has been the original vision of things like for forever. Of like I would like to do like media stuff and I would like to like have a morning show and I would like to have like all these things and it was like comics was a weird like side quest that turned into like, oh, this is not a side quest. This is like the actual thing. Okay. And so like was suddenly free, you know, because it was like Julie was covering Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays at the shop. Tuesdays we needed to do all of the like
prepping and
yeah,
bagging.
it's all the stuff we still do today on Tuesdays. The like yeah, prepping an entire inventory for the store every week, which is like a lot of work, but it was like, hey, we can do that work at home while watching sitcoms and together and like just
Also, the choice to not do that at the shop anymore came from like internet no longer being at the shop.
yeah, but by the time we like moved everything home, yeah, in July.
I think that happened first. I think I'm misremembering.
No, it was during the Undertale stream because like our Undertale stream, like half of it's in the
No, no,
studio,
no, I
half of
know,
it's
but I
in
mean,
the
like, I think the internet was the deciding factor of
right.
whether or not to move things home.
It was.
But it was like a
It was
multifaceted deciding factor of like, okay, this is how this is going to actually work better than like because then we were able to use the studio room that was in the shop. We turned it into like later like a comic.
like a back issue room.
Yeah, but at the time I think we were using it as like just like storage too. So we were like, oh, this is fine, this works.
Right.
Like
But our initial move home, like during the Undertale stream, was supposed to be temporary, and then we were like, "Oh, we actually like this. We like having the stuff at the house."
yeah, it's like I liked being my cats all the time. Being able to like if our kids needed us, like walk out of a room instead of like them calling 70 times and being like me thinking the house is burning down when in reality they're like you didn't wash my stuffed animal or something and like they could just knock on the door and be like you didn't wash my stuffed animal and I'd be like okay sorry I'll do that after this like it,
Discord baboops are yeah. I can try to close. Discord. Bye Discord. I don't know why it's
usually it doesn't badoop like it will but there was one time I was trying to get a hold of you and I kept badooping the Discord and you just had notifications like either silenced or like they weren't coming through when you're live, something like that. I don't
I
know.
don't know. Um, I had asked Shiki if she was hearing Discord too. Yeah, I don't know why that was. Usually doesn't come through. I'm sorry. Um, but yeah, so like initially we were doing things in the studio at the shop. But then the first thing we moved home was the Tuesday stuff, which was nice because we were just like, oh, we can. Also, it was because we would be like, cool, we can actually get things done because like I
And then it would turn where we couldn't because we were getting pulled up front all the time. And like that's valid. Like the more that like I realize that I need extra help with shop stuff, the more I like feel for anybody who's in that upfront position
yeah.
because it's a hot mess like 90 and not just like organization and like computer wise like that it's a really hard learning curve like to get the hang of and it does feel like if you move the wrong thing you're gonna like shut everything down or like break something or like if you move like stuff like physically move stuff you're like moving someone's like important organization system
Hmm.
so I understand now why that was happening I didn't at the time
Uh, but it would.
but as someone who's fully responsible for things up front not fully but like way more than I was at the time I'm like oh yeah no I would be pulling you up front pretty often too to be like what is this giant thing of like books and where can I put it to where it's not gonna get lost because I've like watched it real time happen where like I move a pile or Julie would move a pile and be like where did that pile go we're like oh that was important
Yeah, because
sorry
I have a system that makes sense to me and nobody else, unfortunately. Um,
yeah it's okay I have doom piles too they're just like present in different ways I can't doom pile like books or papers because then I lose the books and papers so fast that like I have to have like a place for important things otherwise my brain just it just gets lost.
um, Sam says, yeah, Discord broke recently, so OBS doesn't auto trigger streamer mode. Normally, as soon as you open OBS, Discord toggles streamer mode on, muting all notification sounds, but it broke and just says everyone is playing OBS Studio. I think it's something that Discord did on their end. They like
You think they did it on purpose?
no, they implemented a new feature because it was annoying me last night because it was like I was um I was an RPG maker and I was just trying to work on stuff. And like as I was working on stuff in RPG Maker, Discord was like, "Hey, we can we can show you things while you're in your game." And I'm like,
No
in
thanks.
a game, technically, I'm trying to use the software, and it would keep moving notifications underneath where I was like clicking. I was just like, I don't want this, and they do it in OBS now too. Um, it's 100% a Discord issue. You can still go to settings, scroll down to streamer mode, and toggle on. Cool. Well, I just closed it out entirely for now, but neat.
What if someone on Discord needs your
Um,
Jeff?
the worst. Uh, but
Well, I didn't say that.
but it was also a thing where it was like at the time we were shipping like crazy.
Oh yeah, that was the thing too that was happening. There was like a whole other layer of work that's no longer present as our eBay store.
And I would need the time to be like, okay, I need to be shipping and not at
You
the
would pick a day that you're like, I'm gonna do this day for shipping, and then other people would be like, I need your help with this. Like, I can't, like, the same exact thing that happens with us, just different.
yeah. And then I would my favorite would be like, and it's fine. It's like but like customers would start to figure it out, and
And then they'd walk to
they
the
would just like
back.
wander into the back and be like, "Hey Jeff," and it'd be like, "Hi," like I'm trying to do all this stuff.
Which is
They
really
would just like sit down and start talking to
it's
me.
really sweet, but like I'm the same way. Like if I'm like doing something really, really involved and people are talking at me, like I can't
Well,
at a certain point.
and it's rough with the shipping thing because it's like because I have to do it a lot now. Sometimes when people are in the shop too, it is like I I understand a normal human should be able to like ship and be fine. It is so easy for me to make mistakes of like shipping the books to the wrong people or grabbing the wrong books or like it's
Yeah.
I would make those mistakes all the time.
I have that similarly where I will list the wrong book like under this wrong title or I'll take the wrong pictures because my brain is like someone's talking to me, I'm listening to what they're saying and I'm also doing this thing and like for some reason there's like a lag or something in
Yeah.
my head and it just completely like skips over a step and I'll just be like, okay, on to the next thing and I'll come that's probably what's happening with our whatnot books is I'm just like not hitting the list button half the time if I'm listing them at the store
Yeah.
because I'm like, okay, I'm done and then I move on and probably like hit the back button or something like
Right.
because
And so
I'm
you don't
not able
or
to.
you're sitting there and you're like, I'm taking a picture, I'm listing this thing, and someone's like, "Hey, you, what do you think of that?" And you're like, "Oh, okay." You engage, then you go
Yeah.
back and you're like, and
And that's
you
not to say I don't like talking to people either. I just
the
don't.
book's up there, and you're like, "Oh, I must have listed that one," and you set it down, but
Yeah.
you never actually listed it. You
It's
just set
just
it.
so hard for me and like it's something that like as an adult I have to be like it would happen at my other jobs too, just less intense because like they required less engagement of like I would literally when I was a manager at Marco's, I would be like, "Hey, I need you to just like I wouldn't say it mean, I'd just be like, "I need 2 seconds to finish this task and then tell me whatever it is that you need to tell me." I would literally tell people that like all the time. And I would always preface it like in the beginning, I would be like, "Sometimes like I'm going to come off as bitchy." And like it's not that. It's just that like if I don't finish a task, my brain is going to yeet that task.
Right.
And as a manager, I can't afford to yeet the task because sometimes I would forget to like close out the store correctly or like there luckily there was only one time where I completely forgot to bring the like deposit to the bank or something, which my old GM forgot all the time and I would have to do it for them in the morning, which is like completely fine, but it's just like all that stuff is pretty important, but because my brain just I can't distractions are hard for my brain.
Yeah, and mine too. Um, and again, all that to say that like we love our customers, but like there's sometimes the things that make the store vroom vroom are the thing are other things that like also need to get done, and so like
And we're really bad at like I think the fix isn't we just need to like not talk or whatever. It's like I think the fix is like there needs to be like a allotted time for things where we actually do those things in the allotted times,
Yeah.
not like
Not while we're trying to like
or
be
like
present and like
there is this, I think it was Saturday where like we were just like listing things like 15 minutes before we were supposed to do a whatnot show, and I was just like, what are we doing? We didn't even eat yet. Like, what is happening? Why is this happening like this? Like, it was, yeah, we just need to get better at like time management
and like yeah, setting those things up.
and being like, okay, this is happening right now, and like, yeah.
But yeah, so that was at the time the solution to those time management things was that like in addition to Dork Duck, the Julie covering stuff was gonna like give us the space to do all those things, but then it really didn't often because it was like, and so then I would then take the time that I was going to be spending doing that stuff coming up and still doing store stuff, and then I would come in at like, and that was in the early days of Vince streaming, and I would like be watching Vince stream till 3 in the morning while doing shipping, and then getting up and going back and doing Dork Duck Daily, which is like I remember that time really fondly, but it was weird. Lindsay says, I'm back. Had to settle the kiddo. The new baby is such a daddy's girl, which is nice. My first hated me until she was about 3 years old, so it's a refreshing change. Congrats again on a new baby. I hope everything's going well.
Congratulations.
Sam says I'm trash at time management. Yeah,
Jeff and I are both not great at it, and I think it's like the cause of a lot of like kerfuffle just in general, because my time management is weird in the way that like I'll realize, oh my god, we're supposed to be doing something in this allotted time, and then I feel like nobody else is like present for that schedule, like nobody else in the room, not like nobody else, the whole world.
Mm-hmm.
And like I'll be like, why aren't we doing this thing? We said we were gonna do this thing, and like it's not technically time, like it is time sensitive, but it's not as much as like other things, I guess. But my brain either works like one way or the other. Like I need that allotted slot time, or it all falls apart.
Sam says kerfuffle is such a good word, and I have no idea how to spell it. That works for me as a
spelling.
spelling.
I think that's how you spell it.
But I'm not sure. See, that was that time, and we eventually landed on, because there was also Dork Duck was doing like extremely well, and by extremely well I mean is like it was at this level
because
but, like,
this is like we did this mostly like we had literal spoon. Wait, not literal spoon. We had like mental spoons to give to this, and emotional spoons and time spoons, in a way that we no longer have now, because
right,
it's different.
We moved everything home. The internet went out at the shop temporarily, and we moved everything home at the time, and then it was like, okay,
we might as well just
do it here.
Yeah.
And that time from like July to September, which I don't think my sister remembers very fondly, because she was just like, oh my gosh, I've been abandoned at this post.
Also, though, something that I realized that your sister and I are pretty similar on is like, I would probably feel better if you were more reachable during, like, when you're here streaming and I'm here doing other things, and I feel like if I need something, I can walk in. Not like anything, but like if I'm like, oh my god, Jeff, the basement is flooding or something, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, oh my god, Jeff, like I don't know what to do here, like this thing is not working or something, and it's really important. Like, I feel better that I can walk over here and just be like, you're right there, instead of like, I think the like suddenly there was nobody directly there.
Yeah.
To ask.
Yeah.
It's like when you're a person at another job and your boss is there versus your boss is like gone at a different building or something. Like you have to call your boss. Like I got anxiety when I had to, and like I was best friends with my GM prior to us working together, but calling them at home was so much different than just like walking into an office or being like, "Hey, person that's at my job."
Whereas the older I get, the more I like the jobs that you get where it's like, cool, the boss is never around. Let me just go and settle into this place and um, you know. Uh Sam says that's why I always try to say IRL is more important than streams. It's really easy to fall into a strict schedule and it feels bad if you fall out of it. But if shit feels off, I think it's best to end early or cut back, in my opinion. While I miss the daily morning show, I'm very proud of you both to acknowledge that this wasn't working and are cutting back on Twitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's also
I think it's something that we need to build back up towards, and I think that like once other points in our life are better like situated, it's like we just need to find systems for other points in our life too, because a lot of things I feel like we were like flying by the seat of our pants on, and like that wasn't stressful for like one party, but it was stressful for the other party, and like it's so funny because it's like it would be like opposite. Like sometimes I would be flying by the seat of my pants and I'd be fine. I'd be like, yeah, whatever. It's like there's no like urgency here. And you'd be like, yes, there is. There's urgency. Oh my god. And then like it'd be flipped. It'd be a different thing.
yeah.
Or it'd be like situationally, I'd be like, we need to be doing this thing right now. And you'd be like, no, there's time for like this, and this. Like, what are you talking about? We can totally just sit down and do other things. And I'm like, but no, we can't. So like I think we just need to figure out how to like properly slot things in a way that like makes sense to both of us instead of it just making sense to one of us.
It's tough
different
though
times.
too, because it's like it was our first time like really working together and we work very differently. Like I'm someone that like if like I dip my toe in and out of like being a writer, right? And I've never been someone who is like, I'm gonna write once in a while. I either am someone who is setting the alarm for 5 a.m., getting up and writing for my 1,000 words a day, and not letting myself stop till I write 1,000 words a day, and doing that every day, or I'm not writing at all. Like, those are my two modes. And it's like, my brain is like, if I'm not doing that very disciplined approach, there's no point to doing this.
Yeah, I think my brain
doing?
works similarly too. It's just like I think there was different things that I was like, okay, this is important, and it would be like, or like it's just like hard because the comic store would like sometimes slip, and we would not do things through the comic store, and then we'd be doing things here, and it's like I think that's just like true of like everybody right now, that like balancing your job and because streaming to me is not necessarily like a small hobby. Like I do enjoy doing it more than a hobby, I think, but like it feels like two jobs, and like but they're both like you're juggling both of them, and like they're not like you're juggling both of them, and then like life is like this boat that you're on that's like just fucking in a storm, and you're like trying to juggle in a storm, and it's just not.
You're trying to juggle on a boat in a storm, and,
Yeah,
and
it's
balls
not
are dropping and they're
fucking
going in the
happening.
water.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
you're like, there goes that ball.
Yeah, and then I've got the wait. In this scenario, are we both captain of the ship, or like is one of us? Because like we both technically own the comic store. I don't claim ownership more or less than you.
Yeah.
It feels weird to say that like we co-own it though, because I still don't feel like I own it. But then I'm like, bro, I'm literally there like all the time practically, and like I do a lot of things for it, so it feels weird to not say that I'm like there in ownership, but it still feels weird. I don't like it. Claiming ownership over things.
I mean, there have been lots of people that over the years have claimed ownership of that store. that have had less stakes than you have in it. Um, Lindsay says, "Come on, guys, sort it out. There's no excuses. I'm live every day."
We need to be on, like, if we're not doing a stream every day, like, just be on at, like, 1 a.m. Nobody needs sleep. Nobody needs...
It's fine, yeah.
No.
Well, and so, like, to bring it back to July, we move home. In that time from July to September, which I think was a nightmare for my sister.
I remember that time very fondly.
So fondly. That is...
like...
And I think that's probably gonna be what our retirement life looks like at this point. It's like, if nothing else, I think the way that I'm like, when we'll do this when we retire, maybe we do that. I think that's gonna be...
We're gonna stream?
Probably.
Oh my god, we're gonna be so old.
But we're gonna be adorable, and and it's like, then we will have the energy.
We're probably gonna like stream, but it's gonna be the same thing. Like we said, like you're gonna paint or some shit, and like on stream, and I'm gonna like knit or something. But we're still gonna be
for like, we had a schedule that was like chill, and it was
because we didn't. I think.
We still went to the store and we still shipped things. We still
did, but there was an extra person that was
right
for like they were there.
Yeah.
Handling store. Like, granted, like they weren't, and this isn't me being like they should have been. It's like they weren't doing comic book polls and they weren't like doing other comic book stuff. But
no,
like
we were doing all that stuff still.
Yeah, but like it was different because we were only doing it on Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yeah,
then every other day was like basically free.
Well, on Saturdays we were doing comic stuff, so we were doing all the comic stuff on Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday. But then we were the rest of the time was like us doing all day. Which part of moving at home too is like, as we were leaning into the streaming thing more, and it was starting to like pay off and pay out, and it was like, and it felt like the Rad Raptor days of like, okay, I could see how this could keep going.
Yeah.
Like the early days of Rad Raptor, of like turning it into a thing that was like, okay, this is not just a hobby, this is something that could like, I was watching those things like cranks start to turn, but then it was like, when we were still in the studio at the shop, like it happened a couple times where I'd be like, "Hi guys, I have to go," and it'd be like, "Sorry, this person's here. Do you have this book for them?" And I'd be like, "They bought that this morning on eBay. They can wait." Like, I haven't gone and like, pulled.
As somebody who's gone through the same thing, like that was important to them at that point in time, was getting that handled. And I will say,
but that's why they're there, though, is so that 100%. I don't have to handle it. I
get it, but like, sister are very similar, and like we're scared we're gonna get in trouble if we do it the wrong way. And that's not to say that like you would be angry with us or even get us like in trouble or whatever. It was just more that like.
I'm pretty sure in the early days I owned at least 10% with the amount that was on my pull.
But like, it's just there's systems in place already, and they're very important systems, and you feel like if you disrupt the system, it is going to like send a house of cards falling. Well, which won't make you mad, but it will still affect every part of how things function.
Right.
So,
and there are definitely like ways in which I will draw boundaries, which then other people don't and feel empowered to do, because we've had people ask us about books on Christmas. Like, and I feel perfectly fine being like, I'm not going to respond to you about a comic book on Christmas.
Yeah.
But
unless like, no, I was gonna say there's like maybe a way, but I don't think so. It's just a comic book. Then I'm not gonna.
There's like,
there's some people I would be like responsive for, but it's different because like they're probably asking for a reason other than a comic book too.
Right.
Like there's like multiple reasons, multiple layers to it.
Sam says, I feel like honorarily I own at least 0.0005% of the store for all my top modding or whatever. um, but yeah, so like that was an era in which, like, yeah, I was being pulled out of streams a lot, especially as I started streaming more and more. And we learned that Jeff is probably, I'm probably someone who, like, I don't think I'm as entertaining of a streamer as, Lena and I in tandem, especially like our co-video game streams and stuff. But just like the ability to continuously stream, I'm probably one of those people that could do it 7 to 8 hours a day and be like, well, that was fun, that was great, and be fine. I don't think Lita falls into that same category. But I was, during those days, starting to stretch those legs a little bit, and we would do those like all day Friday streams, and I miss those maybe the most of like anything, because those were really fun. Of like, hey, we're doing Dork Duck daily, and then we're rolling from Dork Duck right into right into doing, we're playing the new Elder Scrolls, or not Elder Scrolls, Elden Ring. And we're rolling from that right into like playing The Last of Us, and it was like doing these all day streams, and it reminded me so much of the early days of the comic book store. So I was like very, very energized, and I was watching these numbers go up and seeing the potential in these numbers, right? And again, it's that weird mind thing that is like, it's fine, because the early days of the comic store were this way too. And it's one of those things, if I would have been not at the comic shop or unavailable to answer questions at the comic shop because I was off working at McDonald's, I think the average brain can make sense of that in a way that's like, oh, that's fine. That he's unavailable because he's working for shitty corporate overlords, and that's fine. As soon as you are unavailable because you are like doing anything that is like
considered not a real job,
considered quote unquote not a real job, it then becomes like a choice that you're not being available, and people like
get very upset.
They don't respect it, and it's that's not a judgment on the people that don't respect it, because I think we're all kind of that way, and it's kind of weirdly fucked up and weird. As much as Sam, I love and respect you maybe more than any other person, and like you have really good morals and boundaries.
Did you just say you love and respect Sam more than me? You said literally any other person.
I think he's up there.
Whoa!
I don't know that it's more
it's
than
all
you.
Coming out. It's tell-all stream.
But the hey, IRL always comes first. Like, we should be more protective of our stuff that isn't working for corporate. We're so protective of our work for corporate overlords. We're like so like,
yeah, it's bad.
Like, if someone has a job at McDonald's, it's like, oh, I get it. You can't answer a text. You can't answer a call. But if somebody is doing something for themselves, it's like, you can't fucking set down that thing to talk to me. And it's like,
yeah, I'm guilty of that too. But I think it's because I'm so close to it that I'm like, you can take a second. I've seen it. I know. So like,
whereas I like, my phone has buzzed about 19 times as I'm doing this, but I'm just like, that's a boundary I'm drawing where I'm like, no,
I'm 100% like at McDonald's though, they take your whole ass phone away. So maybe at Marco's, like, because Marco's you were allowed to have your phone all the time, but like I literally wouldn't be able to answer the phone sometimes. Or like even in my other job, I was allowed to have my phone all the time, but like I'm not gonna fucking answer a phone call versus pull a pizza out of the oven if the pizza's burning.
Right.
Like, but to me, sometimes I do feel like, as someone who's very close to it, like there's ways to make people in your life feel seen and heard, and also like protect your peace and your like your passions, and like there, and I think like it's difficult for me too, because like I haven't touched like resin stuff or like my art stuff besides fucking around on the iPad, because I know that like there's like other things in my life that are happening, and if I sit down and get engrossed in that, I don't want anybody to like interrupt me because
Yeah.
I'm in it. And like, so that makes sense to me at the same time, but also like simultaneously as someone who's on the other end and like has been the person that's like, "Hey Jeff, I know you're streaming, but like this very very important thing, and to me it's important, but to you it might not be important." So like it's just difficult to kind of like figure out those things.
Well, and I've always been a creative that is like never. My group projects that I got A's on in high school were we'd sit down in the group, and I would be in college was this way too. I would be like, I will do everything, just show up. I will tell you what you're doing. And I specifically found people I could work with that were like, oh shit, I don't have to do anything, cool. And so I'd be like, here's your script for the group project, and they'd go up there and just read the lines that I wrote for them, and then
That sounds stressful.
it's so much less stressful to do that than it is to be like, okay, what ideas do we all have? And they're like, I don't know. Cool. Well, would you maybe want to do something like this? That might work. And then you do that, and they're like, ugh, I don't like this. And I don't like working with other people, I've learned.
Hi. I've realized that like that exact conversation is like you asking me what I want the schedule to look like, and me be like, I don't know, and you're like, okay, but like I need you to know, and I'm like, I don't know, and then you pick one. I'm like, this isn't working. Maybe just hang out and make projects with people that know themselves, Jeff. Jesus, like that's on you, honestly.
Um, Sam says, I invest. Yes, it's important for you to invest in your health. I agree 100%, but Twitch doesn't bring in a ton of money, and you have kids.
Yeah.
I agree, but also I heard the same sorts of things about starting a comic shop. So it was like, I know I'm a delusional weirdo to some degree, but like
Delulu.
I was also, I think, given enough bandwidth, like the broken optimist in me, but I think I would have figured it out eventually. Of like,
Yeah, and I mean, you would have figured it out eventually in that situation, but the situation's different now.
the situation changed. Which, and then Sam said, I invest way too much time and energy into what's important to me and trying to support Shiki. We're pretty broke because of that, but we don't have any kids to take care of. That's fair. The stakes get different when you have kids, because they don't choose to be in the situations. But I'm in a weird situation though too, where my kids have one parent who has done the like, I no longer have crafts or hobbies.
My life is my job,
My life is my very practical job, which makes a lot of money.
which is
and
fine. Like that is something that you can do.
right, I'm saying they have one parent who's made that choice, so they get to see that choice and the consequences,
And they get to see the other side
and
of
they
it,
get to see
that
the other
choice,
side
and
of
the
it.
other consequences.
Right. So it's like that puts them in a, and also it's like I'm definitely not dogging on Kimberly because like none of this would be possible without, it's crazy, but still it's like that's still like what affords all of this kind of stuff is because I know my kids are in the end of the day taken care of. and maybe that's like vastly irresponsible.
Yeah, when you put it that way, I don't think that's a accurate statement fully.
Okay.
Like I do think that if given the not opportunity, because that's not really an opportunity, but I think given if you were like a sole provider, I don't think you would be doing this.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it were on me 100%, like if their mom wasn't as good of a provider and everything else, like I
I
probably.
also don't think that that's 100% like you guys have it split down the middle
Yeah,
pretty fairly.
right.
So,
But I'm saying it's like my kids have health insurance. That
oh,
pressure's not on
yeah.
me,
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
My kids, like,
I don't think about health insurance because
if there's an emergency,
yeah.
my kids are going to be taken care of in a way that like
Yeah.
I'm afforded all of that because of my wonderful ex-wife who works her ass off. Like, um,
Yeah.
like
The way
if
you were
all that.
wording it in my head made it seem like you were just like, yeah, she takes care of them, and then I do the streaming thing, and they come over, and I'm like, no.
No, but I'm saying like I'm acknowledging that it's
Yes,
like
that's important.
she is very important and very crucial to all this because it's like if she wasn't a mom who stepped up in those ways, like all that pressure would be on me and I would be probably at a factory or something
Yeah,
just to make sure that.
probably. Does factories offer health insurance?
Yeah.
Like good health insurance? I don't know. I worked at a factory like once when I was
Once you get hired
19.
in,
So
um
okay, I didn't know that they.
sunset is that is very tough. I've had to create office hours for me when it comes to my family because it was just easy for them to barge into my studio and tell me about the bottle flip they almost landed. Meanwhile, they just ruined a 5-minute emotionally charged take. Yeah.
Yeah, but that bottle flip was probably very important to them.
I don't. It's one of those things I don't know how to navigate because it's like I grew up a pastor's kid and it was made very clear to me because of Jesus that everything my dad was doing was more important than me. Um, and I don't know that that's the best setup either. For about 8 billion reasons.
Is Jesus Jeff Bezos in the situation?
But like but like boundaries. It's fine to set boundaries like that of like, no, these are the times that I am completely unavailable, and it needs to be okay that I'm unavailable.
Minus like emergencies, like if the house was burning down around you, or like I like broke my foot or something.
Right. And I think about 99% of Selena's and I's disagreements come down to the fact that we define emergency very differently.
Oh no, I don't really define things that like I think it's less of an emergency and more that like my emotional permanence is so like fleeting that I'm like, no, if I don't like get this figured out right now, like I'm gonna forget later and like it's still gonna be in me, in my brain and in my body, but I'm not gonna have the like words or the ability to be like, hey, this is actually like an issue that I need to resolve.
Yeah.
It's not just with like the streaming thing too, but like it's just in general. I'm a person that like both has like a lag with like having an emotional response to things. Like I could literally like something very crazy and traumatizing could happen and I could be like, I'm fine, and then later be like 3 days later be like, oh my god, like actually I'm not fine.
Right.
And then like simultaneously, like if there's something that like upsets me or hurts my feelings, like I'm like I need to talk about it because like if I don't, it's gonna just leave my brain. But like not the feeling and the like hurt, but like the ability to be like, hi, this is what I feel, and make it make sense, because then I'm just gonna be like blubbering at people and that's not good either. So
You can blubber at me.
I don't really want to.
You can also like text and be like, hey, don't need to respond to this right now, but I wanted to get this out. Sam says, I will say In the defense of having interruptions during streams, it does get hard when you go in with a plan of how things will be that day, but then stuff keeps coming up over and over. It gets to the streamer. Tech issues do the same thing, which is why for streaming, you have to learn to roll with the punches and remember not to take it too seriously. I think that is...
I think that's
valid.
valid.
I think that's definitely true, and more true at like a... Yeah, I don't know.
I think you put this in a category of professionalism that like
most people probably
I
don't.
didn't. I was like, oh, this is gonna be fun, and then if it like happens, it happens, and if it doesn't, like it's still like a fun thing. It's like a hobby. And you were just like, no, we're building an empire. I'm like, oh, okay, sorry. I'll start putting the cement on the bricks or whatever. I don't know how to build an empire.
Cement on the bricks.
I don't know. That's how I build an empire. You gotta start with the cement
that you put on the bricks.
I don't know.
First, I put a brick. Then
is that not how you build a wall, Jeff?
You know, it is. Yeah, I was giving you shit for that, but isn't that the thing that goes in between the
I
cement?
think it's cement. I don't know.
I don't know. I wouldn't know.
Cock? Is it cock?
Yes, cock. You build with cock.
No, call.
Let's build an empire with cock.
Like the CAULK stuff. It's pronounced cock.
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 Supposed to hit that L. It's a light L, but it's a very important L.
How is that making the L present? Wait, how do you say it? How do you say it?
Cock.
Cock?
Yeah.
But you're not saying the L.
You hit the U and the
cock. Cock.
Caulk.
You were saying caulk.
Mike says, "Yo, Double D, how's it going?" It's going well. Good to see you.
What the fuck? Why is Double D? Dork Duck.
Do not put your cock in between.
Sim said, Jeff, I refuse to be a professional. Don't put that on me.
Lindsay says, my favorite American pronunciation, cock. Yeah. We hit the L just very, very, very lightly, and then some of us choose not to hit it at all.
Cock. Say like a New Yorker saying cock. Okay.
But yeah, that's I approached it like a job because that's how I approach things that we're doing. And
I understand the logic behind that, because if I approached everything that I did like a job, I'd probably have more of a like, I wouldn't be so flighty with things. Like I don't make oh my god. I don't make time for like my other hobby things, but I don't exactly I take streaming more seriously than I do like my resin stuff and art and all that other things. And then I take the comic booking stuff like more seriously over top that. And I think that's like the closest thing that I treat as a job. But I think I only have like the ability to slot one thing into that category. I don't think I can treat like everything that I do in life like a job. Because then I start getting really like, oh my god, capitalistic, fucking capitalism in America is ruining my life kind of thing.
Right, but like this is what I don't
like we don't need to make money off of everything.
This is what I don't understand about us, and I'm talking about us, not just me and you, but like us,
as a collective.
A collective. Sure. Is that we show a level of professionalism, respect, commitment to shitty corporations that we work for that we don't show to our own stuff that we supposedly care more about.
I will say that like when I work a job, I'm very confused when people are like don't get me wrong, I will take my job seriously and I'm not going to like show up in my pajamas or something. I did that once at Marco's. Not like literally showed up in my pajamas like for the whole day, but like I showed up, opened, like did what I needed to do early and
Mhm.
then went home and changed. But
Right.
like there was like a bunch of shit that I needed to do that day and like it didn't involve food obviously. So like it was like all paperwork stuff. So I showed up in my pajamas and then went home and changed. But like you there were people there that would like literally like their waking hours were like how do I like make this a better company or like and there's like nothing wrong with that. But like it was confusing to me because I'm like they're not gonna like no offense to like corporate. We had pretty cool corporate people, but like corporate doesn't actually give a shit usually about you. And like anybody higher than corporate usually doesn't give a shit. Like the rich people above
Yeah.
corporate. So like what are you doing? Like at the end of the day, like if this is something like you're passionate about, then yes. But like if you're just it's like hard to like figure out to specifically for my brain because like I still haven't figured out like oh my god like was I actually passionate about like cooking or was I just like trying to like do a really good job at my job because I wanted to do good for my bosses and like
Right.
people that I respected and like were in turn like taking care of me as an employee too. Because I think if you it works too if you take care of your employees like they will want to do a good job. Surprise, like
Yeah.
I
But
know that that's not like not knowledge, but some people forget that.
okay, but like so like with your resin stuff, and not to pick on you too much, but like you're here. So sorry.
I'm here.
Um
Am I? Am I here?
I think so.
I don't know.
So like
I'm in my pajamas. I'm not exactly professional.
so for your resin stuff,
Yes.
like you when you worked at that restaurant job, you missed like one day, I think,
Oh my god, yeah, and I almost like collapsed
because you were so
because I was like literally there when I was like like not like I didn't realize I was sick yet. And then it hit me like a bus and I almost like passed out and I had to leave early. And then the next day I was like I can't be around food. I work at a restaurant.
but
So
you
but I didn't want to call off like
right, but you don't approach like
resin.
that way.
No, because like it's not
So why does the restaurant deserve that energy from
because
you,
I
but
was
your art
making
doesn't?
money. I don't know. That's what I'm saying is
But you're
like the
saying none, but
capitalism
you're saying
like
stuff doesn't the money part not everything needs to make money, but I'm saying like why does that restaurant deserve that level from you but then your art stuff doesn't?
because it was making money and at the same time like I was being treated very good there and like I was like I had a happy
So your hobbies have a bad boss?
yeah it's me like what I don't like of course like what are you talking about yes I'm the problem I'm we figured this out no but like it's just different and I understand what you're saying that like I should it's just harder because like yes my hobbies are important and my passions are important and I acknowledge that but also I don't have a way to like the restaurant and even like the comic book store but I think the reason I struggle so much with this and the comic book store is there's such a level of like flying by the seat of your pants or like this morning like you were getting the show ready 15 minutes before like the show started
Yeah.
like you and this isn't me like coming at you or being like it's just like that to me is like really stressful because I'm like oh like what if you don't get it done like before the
Well,
show
and we're probably not
starts
even going to get to that stuff today because we're talking about this
oh
stuff
well
is
then
more
we should
important.
talk about other things
No, it's like this stuff's important because
Oh,
it's like
okay.
our like, hey, this is what the show is
Um,
now. Not this
but no,
specifically, but
like
like we're talking through
you
the
like a job that you like work with, you have a boss, and yes, like you can be your own boss. I'm not saying that's like impossible. It's just harder because like you are responsible for like literally everything versus when I worked at a restaurant, like everything, not everything was done for me, but like my schedule was set by someone else. Um, the like what needed to be done essentially was decided by other people. Like I didn't know when we would have a party of who the fuck ever and have to and make
yeah.
extra food for whatever. Like I would be told that and then it would be my responsibility to do it. But like it's still these things were handled and it's like and I wasn't being told
It says on Twitch, Chad is your boss. We had someone hang out for the first like month or two of us doing the show that was like then came into the shop and then they were like, I do enjoy your streams, but usually I enjoy chaos. And I was like,
what the fuck is a
what the
chaos
fuck is a
stream?
chaos stream? And they're like, I just like hanging out in streams where we get to tell the streamer what to do. And they were like mapping out this whole thing where they were like paying money.
What?
They were like paying money into the Twitch to like basically the exact shit from that Black Mirror episode where they're like paying him to like do it,
But not like that, but like
not that level, but like the same concept of just like we're paying this for this guy to have a miserable time and like
that's kind of
he's
crazy. Who you don't have to tell me right
I'll tell
now,
you
but
later,
I
yeah.
need to know because that's yeah, that person needs to go touch grass.
It was really funny because it was like I didn't even know that was
I
a thing.
there's like fun levels to like oh like you get to choose to do something in the game or like you get to like there's like games where it makes it the chat can have you
Well,
choose what
and I've definitely been in streams on the internet in which a smattering of tokens were exchanged to like dictate what was happening
oh
in
my
those
God.
streams.
We're not talking about those kinds of streams, Jeffrey.
But I was saying, like, I've never. It was so weird to like, wow, you guys found a way to make very unsexy sex streaming, basically. Like, it's like
yeah, that is
you
essentially
are
the same thing.
you're dictating
That's
what these people are
when you
doing.
put it like that. It's so similar but so different.
Yeah, it's.
I don't like that. I don't like that that was pointed out to me. I don't like that I have that knowledge in my head now.
Tim says, yeah, who lets chat torture them to raise money can be me.
But like that's different because you're not like physically harming yourself necessarily. Were they talking about like physically harming themselves or like just drinking a gross drink or something?
It was stuff like drinking a gross drink or like you have to read this book, but then we're gonna like play a bunch of things to interrupt you while you're trying to read the book.
Oh my God, our kids watch streams like that.
They would try to, and I would always curse
You'd be
that.
like, stop,
I'd
no.
be like, no, that's not.
They wouldn't even like watch streams like that though. They would watch like YouTube playbacks of it. Like, and that's
It says, oh my God, I offered to send a Galaxy for you to suck your big toe one time. I said, I'm sorry, get over it.
oh my goodness. No, but like, I don't know. Again, I get like the fun, like people get to choose, and I think that could be fun for like certain games and things like that. But like specifically being like, I only like my streams where I have control over what the people are doing, like
It's gross.
that's making
gross.
them miserable. It's like that's confusing to me, but it's fine.
It's you like what you like, I guess.
And I mean, they're doing it. No one's necessarily like the streamers. I mean, I guess the money is like being held over their head. I guess that is kind of similar to the Black Mirror episode, but
Sam says, I don't know, Lena, curling a ton of weights for 30 hours, barely sleeping, and having ridiculously loud alerts during the middle of the night isn't exactly healthy. I'm pretty sure that's some kind of psychological torture. I love middle of the night 24-hour stream Sam. He is so salty. It is so great. Like,
I, d- yeah, and I'm glad that you, but like I worry.
I worry too, but it was just like you saw like a veneer, another veneer lower, and it was just like there was just like, and it wasn't like he was mean.
It's so funny that
It's
like
just
it
like
takes people so much more to get to that point, and for me, it's like I dropped a jar of peanut butter on my toe this morning, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna
we had a
be
complete crash out. Yeah.
fucking angry for like d- hours over this stupid jar of peanut butter. It wasn't just a jar of peanut butter. There was other factors, but like yeah, I wish that I think I just don't have the resolve and the like people have like more
Constitution.
yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Yep.
Constitution.
That's the word I could
Well,
find
they have like
earlier.
a more of like a pillow around like I just like and like yeah, the like dropping a jar of peanut butter on your foot sucks and you should be able to like be like, "Ow, my foot." But like it shouldn't upset you and it upsets me.
I've been saying this a lot lately,
It
but
hurts my feelings.
I'm weirdly wrapping back around into like some weird boomer logic on some things, and it's like the thing I think we should.
I don't know that I'd go that far, but you do you, bud.
I almost think that like we should make kids do sports, and I've like wrapped back as a kid who was made to do sports and hated it. Was like I will not make my kids do sports. I will not be that parent, and then most parents tend to fall more in that category now than when I was growing up when most parents were like, no, we're going to make you do sports.
Yeah.
But like certain things like that, where it's just like when you're a kid and you're like, I stubbed my toe. And it's like, well, you got to go out there and shoot a free throw. I don't know what like that. That's a skill that we're not teaching humans anywhere right now, basically.
Yeah.
And sports taught those things. And
I
like
think there's other ways to teach it though. I understand what you're saying, but like I think there's
then we
other
need to find those other
yes, we
ways
do.
and do them.
Yes, we do. And that involves effort and work and like I almost feel like sports is the easy way out, just like I feel like yelling at kids is the easy way out for some people because they're just like, "Oh, I can get them to do what I want them to do by yelling at them." And it's like that's not good either, and I don't think that like sports is the same as yelling at a kid, but like I do think that like for some kids it's causing the same amount of like emotional dysregulation
Yeah.
because I if oh do not even if somebody made me fucking play volleyball or basketball as a kid, I would have just fucking like I would have just like let somebody like hit me in the face with the ball and just like take me out because
Yeah.
I would rather be that. I would rather be on the floor like like I hate sports. The only thing that I would want to do probably is track as a kid.
Yeah.
But like I like playing sports for fun. I like playing basketball in our driveway with you and playing like the one where you like spell a word or whatever. The second that somebody would come at me in like a way that like it's just I can't handle it. People take sports too seriously in my opinion.
Yeah. But like I don't know. It's like I just don't think we're teaching these skill sets anywhere else. Like we've taken away sports and we've not replaced it with anything. So it's like we're not teaching kids how to lose and have it be okay. We're not teaching kids how to build up
No, and
constitution to
that's
do
like
things when they don't want to do it.
that's
And
on society. Like that's not on like the it's just I don't know. I don't know. I'm like back and forth because like I do think there needs hi bug. Come here.
Sam says the adults around sports are kind of toxic. My dad tried to live vicariously through me, which is obnoxious as fuck. Yeah, my dad did that too. That's the things I don't like around sports.
It's like if you're trying to teach your kids like good values, I think that's fine, but you need to like make sure that you're not like scaring them into those values because then they're going to like carry that for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, I just don't. I agree with
Any
that.
chance I will avoid accidentally traumatizing my children, I will take.
So, as a child who was traumatized, I'm definitely dealing with the results of that being traumatized. I also just don't know what to do half the time because it's like there are good things that came about from my being traumatized by things that I don't know how to give my kids. Um, it's very it's a pickle of a situation. So we yeah that
Do you
July.
hear him?
Yes, he's a very happy boy.
We happy boy. Hey, we don't want to play.
No.
We just want to sit in our chair, sunshine. To be fine. That's what life is about, huh?
And he's like, Mom, you're too snuggly. Oh, did you turn up the microphone?
Yeah,
so
I did because it wasn't picking you up too. He's so loud. So we that July till September time, we remember very fondly. We were just working from home and vibing.
Turn my microphone down because now I can hear myself like move the saliva in my mouth and it's freaking me out.
Okay.
Thanks.
We had a very good time and like we were very focused on Dork Duck and like that was very and then to my sister's credit, like she came at me with like, "Hey, I'm moving to a new space and like you can move with me."
I'm still here. I'm just getting a drink.
Okay.
I'm listening.
And at that time, Selena and I sat and talked a lot and freaked out and crashed out in about 17 different ways and talked through everything. And it was a really, really tough, really, really hard call of what we were supposed to do at that point because it's like, Rad Raptor was doing better, but was still coming out of a pretty rough time. And there was still some amount of wisdom at that point in potentially like calling it a day. And that effectively would have done that. Like if we would have been like, okay, yeah, let's do this option where we're gonna go and move all of our stuff basically in and like Rad Raptor would basically cease to be, and then it would just be like Trope-tastic, and Trope-tastic would just also happen to sell some comic books, right? Is basically how it would have landed. And we definitely sat and talked about that option. It wasn't like we like immediately dismissed it, but that would have ended for sure a thing that existed and mattered to a lot of people and would have been replaced by something that a lot of those people would not have felt as comfortable, walking into or hanging out at, or like for whatever. And this is not like a insult towards like my sister or like what she's built or whatever thing. It is just it is not a space for me or my customers at all. And she would not fully understand me saying that. But it's just, the time that we shared the space, it was getting less and less that. So, it would be a lot of like I'd walk in and I'd be like, what is this music? And the music would even be like very just like, I don't know, like adult contemporary, like.
I think y'all were both just like trying to like vie for like like it was a split down. Like yes, you both had like a piece in the store, but like I think you didn't expect the big changes of like how things were gonna move around, like our stuff was gonna get moved around. And I think in the same hand, like that's what like to her needed to happen to keep things going, if that made any like I don't know. I think overall it was just like you guys were trying to like split it down the middle, but hard to do that.
Yeah. Well, and also like I have created a space in that comic shop that high school Julie would definitely like be like, this is the coolest place in the universe.
Yeah, people change though. Like
but
that's
but
fine.
that's not. And a lot of the way it's interesting because a lot of the my aesthetic and everything comes from who Julie was in high school, because like that was in a lot of ways my like best friend and mentor was my 7-year-old sister, who was just like, hey buddy, like it's okay, we can survive all this insane stuff that's happening around us, and we're gonna do it by like not giving a shit and going to the movies and like going to the beat of our own drum and like doing all this other stuff. Like it was just um it's weird to face as a little brother, like then basically building that space that that person could plug into and be like, hey, this rules. And then, you know, and that having a sister, we all grow and change, it's fine. This is just me like talking through real shit.
Yeah, no, you're fine.
Instead having a face then with a sister who's no longer the high school best friend that you were like obsessed with, who instead is just like, what if we like made everything like pretty? You're just like, I thought that's what we grew up hating, because like as people that wanted things to like look dainty and pretty for the sake, you know, is like that's it. We were the like substance over appearance people, you know, like I'm that person because of her. And then like to have that be like one of the areas where we clashed, it was just like a very interesting
Yeah.
thing. So like, yeah, it's like I don't think towards the end of that partnership, I don't think the store was going in a direction for either of us, Julie or I, where we wanted it to. And like had we done that move and moved into it's like one of those things that we would have moved our comic customers over there, but I think over time our comic customers would have slowly disappeared. I think it would have lasted like 6 months, whereas opposed to now, where it's like it's built up and it's been booming. I think they would have, because it would have been a lot of like
Still purring, but like he's trying to readjust.
You can still be in here. It's fine. I wasn't kicking you out.
and,
Just
and
seemed uncomfy.
to be fair, the book customers didn't love coming in the comic shop either. They still don't. Just like when they get dragged in there.
They're like, and I like books, and I know people that like books, and I know book talk people, and there's just like a certain side of all of it that like, and I do think it's like mostly spearheaded by like the like people who are only following trends and like yeah.
But yeah, I'll just say, like, we could have made that move and it would have kept the focus on Dork Duck, but I think it would have officially killed off Red Raptor, and I didn't think that like that was the responsible choice for us.
Because that was what was our job, that was making money, and like despite you saying that like that things would be fine if you didn't necessarily, we need to bring in money. Like,
right. Well, I do think that like
unfortunately
I could get this to that point. I don't think
would just take
it would just take a while. It took, years with the store. So Um. So that's why we didn't make that move, and then it was like. And then it was like I was thrown off that my also our landlord fucking rules. The idea of leaving our
Bye,
landlord.
Sam. Have a good stream.
Bye, Sam. Uh the idea of leaving our landlord just seemed insane to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then also just like it's like our rent's real cheap there. We've been there for forever. It didn't. I let it sit. It didn't sit right, and I was very thrown off that we were being asked even to make that decision. And then, my sister was thrown off that we didn't say yes and roll with it. And then we were like in a spot of like not being cool for months after that, and like we're good and better now. But yeah, it was a tough time, and that resulted in basically between October of last year and now, us basically we took a little time to like focus on getting the store right, and where we stopped doing a lot of our streams, but we kept doing Dork Duck daily, and then we went back to like, hey, we're gonna do, and we've basically been zombieing this Dork Duck thing along for months. And crashing out and having fights with each other over stuff at times, and like and going hard in the paint for it sometimes and not other times, and leaving a bunch of stuff undone sometimes, and crushing at others, and it's like our main focus has had to be the comic shop, because it's like it was a real that was a real do or die moment of just like, okay, if we're not making this move, then we have to make this Rad Raptor thing work fully again here, and we've put the energy into that, and it largely has been successful and largely has worked out. And things are going really well there, which is great. But the more and more wealth things go there, the less and less spoons we have for this. And we have children, and we have personal lives, and we have, sometimes I want to play a video game, like have it be okay. But with Kim and Selena, like both want me to like be available and present, and rightfully so, to like be able to like be around to handle kid stuff, and be around to handle household stuff, and be around to like, I can't have every single hour of every day dedicated to work stuff, but especially, unfortunately, work stuff that's not bringing in monetary money. And I feel like I've failed Dork Duck, because it's like I do feel like I could have really gotten it there to be a thing that did that.
I don't know that you failed it, that necessarily like life change happened. Like there's nothing you could have done about that. Like literally. Aside from being like, Selena, go get a 40-hour-a-week job and completely financially support me while I do this streaming thing. I don't think there was any other.
But I don't think it works without you either. Like I don't.
Sure, I guess. Maybe. But that we'll see. Then it would be like I would have a job, and then you'd be like, you should get on stream at 10 p.m. And I'd be like, I'm going to bed.
Right.
Because I got home at whatever time. Yeah, it just wouldn't have worked.
Because like I have the ability to like be here and talk and make YouTube videos and like do those sorts of things, make TikToks. But like I'm not as a guy who professionally pursued comedy for years.
You say that you're not as funny as we're on God.
I was about to say I'm not as funny as you.
Look at Bug. Look at him. Look at him. He's just like laying on his back.
I am not as organically funny as you are.
Okay.
I'm not as organically like.
I don't know.
When you are locked in you are more magically entertaining than like I could ever hope to be. And
Magically entertaining.
yes, my superpower is that I can like lock in when a lot of people can't.
I just can't lock in, bro. I got that. I don't know how to make it funny, what I just said, but I can't literally lock in.
But my superpower is I can show up when other people can't. I can like be consistent when other people can't, right? I can lock in when other people can't. That's what I bring to the table. What you bring to the table is it's like the difference of like, again the lack of sports. I don't know how to communicate this, but it's the difference of like
Telling me my grandma should have forced me to play volleyball as a kid.
no. I'm not saying that. I was about to make a sports analogy of different basketball players of like the guy,
like what they both all bring to the team, kind of thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
that
like
makes
on a
sense.
raw talent level, you will always be wildly more talented than me. Um, and I will always be envious of that. I don't think there's a version of this that works
Well, I'm
without.
always envious of your ability to like just not give a fuck about, and this isn't me like literally saying you don't give a fuck about anything around you. I'm saying like you can just like lock in a way that like I
Yeah,
can't. And it's so funny to me because like you figured out that you had ADHD before I did, and like you have had it longer, well not had it longer than me. I guess you've been alive longer than me. Had it longer than me. But like you just you like knew before I did that you and like were able to like work on it, I think. And I maybe like well no, cuz didn't you say that you didn't start medicating for it till you were like an adult,
yeah, as
like
an
late
adult.
adult. So
Yeah.
like we're on the same track. It's just unfortunately we're like 9 years apart. So I'll probably hit a point where I'm able to lock in when I'm like 30 something.
Um,
Unfortunately. You got
maybe.
like 2 more years of this. Sorry.
No, and I'm not. I wasn't saying that as a knock on you. I was trying to compliment you, and
I'm
you're
saying it as a knock on me.
okay.
I do not like my inability to lock in.
I don't think this works without you, and it sucks because like I do think there is something like the co-streams. I think the co-video game streams. I think highlight it the most of just like
Yeah, I think like I know that you're like okay, well life doesn't stop and like you need to do things even if life is still happening at you. I really genuinely do think that like when life like cuz I think there's a way for life to chill the fuck out. Like not 100% cuz it's never going to be the case, but like I think there is a version. Sorry, Bug's noise concerned me. There's a version where like we get back to what we were at here and still have the spoons to also make the comic store work. It's just like I don't know if that means I need to be on like meds or something for like depression or like if I need to like take a class in self preservation or something like not self preservation like I don't know what the word is that I'm looking for. Like, I don't know what that looks like, but I do think there is a way to get back to that. It's just like everything else in life is so loud. And like, I feel like there genuinely is a way to make it all work. But with the way things are so chaotic right now, like, I just don't know that, like, that it works.
yeah. But also I don't want I don't it's tough as someone who's like loves you and is older than you and has like gone through a lot of this stuff too and like on the other side of my own lessons that I can like then accidentally apply to you and be like you just need to get to the other side of and it's like you might be facing different things and different demons, right?
Yeah.
It's tough. I don't want you to be held back from doing the things that you want to do by not just like doing them, right? Of just like that.
Sure, that makes sense.
But I also don't want to be like any party of you doing things that you don't want to do.
This is like the hard part to like get through to people is that like I want to do these things that I don't do. I beat myself up literally every second of every day when I don't do things that I want to do. Like it's a constant thought process of like, you didn't do this thing, you didn't do this thing, you did. It's not like I like wake up and then like the days that I would skip streams be like, okay, I'm skipping a stream and I'm gonna go have fun and like do fun things or like I can't because I'm tired and I'm gonna go to sleep, and then I wake up and I'm like, that was a good nap and I feel good about it. It's like I don't feel good about it. It's not like I'm not like regretting not doing the thing. And it's not like if I don't do the resin stuff that I stop thinking about the resin stuff, or if I don't do art stuff, I'm not thinking about the art stuff. I do genuinely think there's just like a level of like chemicals in my brain that isn't being processed properly at this point, because like
I'm just saying, as someone who loves you, I don't want to be a stage mom either and be like,
oh no, but like you
let's get in the chair.
Like, if like you're dealing with a person with depression, like you do become that because they aren't doing the thing that they want to do, and you have to push them to do the thing that you want to do. And I don't want that for you either. I'm just saying that like right now in life, like what I need is less like of this so that I can figure out the other stuff.
Yeah.
And then we can come back to it. I'm just saying that like I'm acknowledging that I don't think it's like a you thing all like fully, if that makes any sense. Like I don't think you're like overly like expectant or anything. I just think that like there's something in my brain that needs to get kind of
every single version of our schedule I've like laid out to you, and it's been like we've talked through and agreed, and I've given you multiple times to be like,
yeah. And I again, as I can't see it until I see it, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So
no, but I'm just saying, it's like, to your point, I've tried to like even advocate for you more than like throughout the scheduling process to be like, okay, well, what works? And
but like I can't stick to a schedule, and that's like a me problem. So that's what I'm saying. Like I need to work out the me problem before we come back to this, because it doesn't work if I'm not doing it. You know what I mean?
yeah, and this stuff's not going away. So like all of
I
that
know
to
that.
say,
I was just saying like the way that it was before, I think is still possible. It just all these other kinks get dekinked.
dekinked.
Yeah, you need to spray some of that Febreze fabric softener stuff that like de-wrinkles the fabric on it.
Right.
But instead of it being fabric, it's our life.
Let's say, I love my sister. I love my ex-wife. It's two people that
I love both of them too.
I feel like I'm a bad communicator and I'm not great at group projects, and
you do tend to take, and it's like, to be fair, like you work with people that want you to take over, but at the same time, like somehow people that you work with also feel like you might be like taking over too much. Does that make sense?
It's either I'm taking over too much or I'm not taking over enough
of the things that they like want you to take over.
But like that's also not
on.
like super communicated either. Yeah. So it's
hi.
I'm getting better at my half of it, but I'm still terrible. And we'll get there. All that to say, next week will be a more normal show. We'll probably cover some amount of news. We'll do an Am I the Asshole?
We're doing a co-stream too on Friday mornings, right?
Friday mornings we're going to do a co-stream.
And then we're doing something Thursdays.
Thursday mornings I'm going to do Final Fantasy.
Okay.
Might not be able to do it by this Thursday, but my plan is to sort of start, and we have to all decide what is going to be the studio. And I'm going to start putting stuff down there, and it's going to be a lot of like Jeff sitting alone in a dreary space for now, but it's going to be like that way.
I'm gonna kick you downstairs.
But like this is part of it, is like I need to be able to like go do things in a space that's like not like right where you're sleeping too.
That's valid, but also I could sleep on the couch.
It's like whilst I'm working on projects, whilst I'm working on things, it's like this was a really good solution. This solution worked when we just had this job, basically, and then went into the shop 2 days a week,
Yeah.
3 days a week.
But now there's like other things.
But now that there's other
require mental
things,
load, and when
having
other
this
things
having the studio in the same space where you sleep is not a really viable
well, also
thing.
it's like if I'm like, I feel like I'm like I really don't know what else to like compare it to besides like a MMO character, but like I feel like I only have so many like action points in the day. And that's like probably a personal flaw that I can work on. But I really do only have so many action points throughout the day that like if I'm and then like I want to sleep and reset my action points, and then if I can't sleep, I'm like I don't like I can't function,
Yeah.
which I think is normal.
I think it's normal. I think I'm the same way. I just think I'm just like I
You
don't.
sleep like 4 hours and you're fine, and I am so jealous because I'm like I want to be awake and I want to be like doing things. I just also like my body requires.
But I also
sleep.
think I have so many action points too, and so I look at things like dishes, and I go like, not going to spend any action points on those. I want to save them for things I want to do, and
That's
like,
valid.
oh
my god, did you hear that? Hear it? It
I
finally
didn't.
popped. Ugh.
Sorry, Selena's been
I've been trying to pop my sternum to show Jeff what it sounds like for like days now because for some fucking reason every time I like stretch my sternum pops.
and then she'll like be like, come
I'm
over
like,
here, listen.
Come here, I'm gonna pop my
and
sternum.
then it's
I'll
just
do it. Wait.
then she can never do it on command.
It's not working. Okay.
Lindsay says, sounds great. I still love you both. Love you too, Lindsay.
Love you too. Thanks for still loving us and being around.
We will. So what it's going to look like going forward. Tuesday mornings.
I have to pee. Not Tuesday mornings I have to pee, but just
Tuesday mornings, we're going to do this show. And it's gonna look more like the morning show, less like this, where we're talking out our feelings and talking about everything. Wednesday mornings, nothing, because we're going to run the comic shop. Wednesday nights on Facebook, we're doing the live comic sale for Red Raptor. Thursday mornings, that's where the Final Fantasy stream's going. And like I said, like I'm gonna go find a space that I can do that that's not right here. So it's gonna look a little different. But that'll be my continuation of playing through Final Fantasy games. Friday mornings in the same time slot. So we'll be live in this time slot every Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. And Friday mornings, we're going to be doing our video game stream. There was a version of the schedule that did not have that on it. And Selena was very passionate about wanting to still do the co-stream. So we're going to do that. And so that means, basically 2 times a week, you'll get both of us. 1 time a week, you'll get just me. And unfortunately, it means for now, the 64 list has to officially die. We kept trying to still do it in this version of things, and it kept not happening. And it's a bummer. That's like one of my biggest travesties is that's a really hard baby to let go for me. I really enjoyed that stream a lot. And I really miss that stream. There's just no way to make that work. And have me streaming more than the 3 times a week. There's just not a way to fit that in there. And if I have to pick between the Final Fantasy stream and the 64 stream, unfortunately, the Final Fantasy stream makes a little more sense. And so that's what we're going with. It's just, it is a bummer. Because I like that thing a lot. But yeah, that's the plan going forward. A big part of it is just like the one thing I've learned in 8 years of doing the comic thing is that for whatever handful of reasons, any time that we have tried to do the thing where someone else is sitting in the comic shop it has not worked for different reasons over the years, but it's just like um at the end of the day, the version of the comic shop that works is the version that people know when they walk in they are going to find me. And I have a lot of complicated feelings about that. It's like it's very endearing and nice and wonderful on one end. On the other, it's like it's a little scary because it's like that means that like Rad Raptor is definitely a thing that is finite, and I was always trying to build a thing that was inherently bigger than me, in a space that was bigger than me. And every attempt at that has not really panned out. And I'm sorry you lost Bug. And so that's kind of I have complicated feelings about that too, because that means that like I have those, five those like 35 hours, 40 hours or whatever hours the shops are open are definitely spoken for in a way that I can't really do other things. And my brain wants to say maybe that won't always be true, but in 8 years, every time it's been like, oh, well, this person can watch the shop, so Jeff can do this. It's turned into people walk in the shop and go, why isn't Jeff here?
The only maybe way that I could see it working are that, like, once I hit my 30s, well, I'm almost there, but like the 30s in which like you always say that like I am you, but like 9 years ago essentially. So like I'm thinking that once I hit like the point where you're at now, that I'll be able to take over because I'll essentially like you. I'll just be a tiny female version of you.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, that's fine. That's acceptable change.
Yeah.
I won't probably have the same sense of humor or talk as much. Maybe. I mean, maybe I will. In my like early 30s, I might suddenly develop like extroverted nature, which sounds really weird. But yeah, it might happen. You don't know.
So just speaking of real life, not the 64 stream specifically, but you shouldn't let go of any babies. They are fragile.
Yes.
Lindsay knows about that.
Do not be letting go of babies.
When I was in high school, I don't know if it's still there in the reading high school. I went to a tiny little school, but if anyone's out there, I kind of want them to go find out if this is still there. In the reading high school, little home ec room.
Mm-hmm.
There was a sign that said, never, 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 never shake a baby. And I was like, that sign says shake a baby.
You crossed out never. What?
So if it says never shake a baby.
Never, ever.
It said never, 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 never shake a baby.
So never. No, it'd just be never, never.
So never would mean don't shake the baby. Never, never would mean shake the baby. Never, never, never would mean don't shake the baby. Never, 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 never means shake the baby.
Oh, I thought there was 3 nevers.
There was 4 nevers.
Oh my god, that sign does say shake a baby. That's just that's just simple English literature. Like, what were they thinking? Not literature. Oh my god, grammar. I don't know. I'm tired.
It's one of my most well-earned detentions.
Oh my gosh.
It's me being like, excuse me.
That is so you. That is so you to point that out. Oh my goodness.
Are we supposed to shake them? But that sign that you put up is telling me to shake the baby.
Were you saying it because it was funny, or were you saying it because it was genuinely something that bothered you that the sign said shake the baby?
Both.
God.
both. It very bothered me. And then when I pointed it out, and then it was like, and I was like, no, that's what it says though.
That's
like,
literally what it says, the grammar wise. Yeah.
Lindsay says you are she, Jeff.
Okay, I can accept that. Again, later in life, I'm not gonna go bald though. Hopefully,
Will grow the beard.
I will not be growing a beard either. I cannot do that. I believe. I don't know. Maybe if I will myself hard enough. But like, I don't want to be bald with a beard. I like my hair, and I like
your hair.
I don't think I would do well with a beard. I think I'd be very physically uncomfortable. I get like squicked sometimes when your beard touches me and it's too prickly. I'm like, ugh. I can only imagine like going to itch my face and then stabbing myself with a beard. But anyway, maybe someday I'll be Jeff 2.0. It's just like, I think also like just one of the biggest things is like I'm really behind on figuring out who I am as a person because of like all life stuff. So like that's something that I need to really do
That's where I was
before
at
like
in my
I
20s.
can like commit to like a big thing, like a big project or whatever.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, it's like when something then is like, hey.
But then life, it doesn't stop for you though. So like I either need to figure the fuck out or like get off the ride made it seem dark. I didn't mean that. I meant like get off this.
Never never get off the ride.
Yeah. No, like I never. No. Stop. I'm saying like I need to figure it out because life don't stop.
Doesn't.
It doesn't. It just fucking Shrek was right. Whatever the fuck that song
Dylan
said.
says, I think it just implies that there is a proper time and reason to shake a finger. Right? Lindsay says, you don't have a choice, Lena. As part of the package, you will go bald and we'll make up for it with nice hats.
This is acceptable if there's nice hats involved.
Yeah.
If I'm given nice hats, then I suppose I will accept my fate.
You have to start wearing hats for sports teams.
Ew, no, I'm not doing that. Are we gonna go to baseball for Father's Day?
Probably not, because like you and I will be the only people that'll enjoy it.
Oh, I'm not gonna enjoy it, but I want you to enjoy yourself. So like I'm willing to drag our children and be like, if you guys don't pretend like you're having fun for your dad's sake. He's had a really hard summer. It's not even started yet. Let him have this.
No, we'll definitely do something that will be like geared towards my enjoyment that people normally say no to. But
you're
like,
allowed to ask for anything. It's Father's Day, bro.
Yeah. It might even be like, hey, we're gonna just stay home, but you guys are all watching all of Lord of the Rings with me.
Can I eat an edible first?
I don't know. Maybe. So it says you sound like my wife now. I'm not gonna enjoy it, but I just want you to have fun. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I've learned that like pretending to have fun usually is something that I deeply, deeply struggle with. And I'm not gonna like make it like uncomfortable that I'm not having a good time, but I will be like, hey, this isn't my bag, but like go nuts.
Yeah.
You know? Similarly to Jeff, when I go like
in a clothing store.
Yeah, we went to a clothing store on our little adventure on Sunday or Monday. Was it Monday or Sunday? Oh, it was Sunday. Yeah, sorry, time. And it was like Jeff's like, I'm not enjoying this. Like, that's fair. And then I started not enjoying it, not because of Jeff, but because I realized slowly that store had changed over time since the last time I'd been there. And then we went to a store that we both enjoyed, which was like this big store with like a bunch of like old records and cassettes and books and movies and things for like they're all $1.50.
Every single thing in that store is
and it's in this cute, like, oh my god, the aesthetic and like vibes there were so good. And it's just, oh my god, it was this cute like brick building in a town that I will not say because I don't want to dox myself, but like big town near us.
It was in Reading, Michigan.
No, it was not. It's just a really nice place, and I want to go back there. So if you would like to go back there for Father's Day,
That's on the potential list. The other list is like
staying home and watching
that, or like going to other places like that. Because it's like once we mined one, I'm kind of like, we should rotate around and like.
That's valid.
But yeah. That's
it.
That's it.
That's the show.
That's the show.
Sorry for talking so much about that.
It's what we were gonna do. Next week we will do some Am I the Asshole? We'll do some smattering of news. It'll probably take a little bit for like this show that is now a weekly show to figure out exactly what it is, and that's okay too. But I will be back here Thursday doing some Final Fantasy, and then Friday we will be doing I think we're gonna be doing some sort of co-stream on Friday between the two of us. I think we're gonna focus on doing smaller, probably knowing us, probably horror stuff, but smaller games rather than do the like, oh my gosh, we're playing through all of this game thing. And we'll get that figured out, and it's gonna be a process, but we will get there. Also, I will say that like over time, I don't want the Dork Duck name to go away, but it's gonna start to like figuring out how these two branches of what we do fit more cleanly together is definitely going to be a conversation. So some things that are called Dork Duck might start to have a raptor named RJ attached to them. And we'll get it all figured out, but it's not going to happen overnight. Thank you guys so much for being wonderful and amazing,
Yes,
and being why we didn't want to give this up at all. Someone says, was it the town with the brick dick? 100%.
Yes. Yes, it was.
I'm not gonna rate it anywhere right now because that's not the energy of the show today. Next week we will do that, and Thursday I will do that. I am gonna plug our whatnot because that's one of the places you can find us. Also facebook.com/RadRaptor Comics is where we will be live every Wednesday night. So we're still live 5 days a week, which is still a lot. And we're talking about it like we're like, I'm sorry we're going away so much, but it's like we're still live 5 days a week.
Yes, sir.
It's just two of them we're selling comic books, but you can still hang out there and make dumb jokes.
You can still hella hang out there.
I tripped over my words.
It's okay. I just wanted to make a funny joke, and
Dylan says, love you guys. Have a great day. Love you.
Love you too.
Appreciate you all. Be honest, can be useful. Live a good fucking life.
We'll see you on Thursday. I won't be. I mean, I'll be here. Like you'll see my face in the corners.
If I do it in this room.
In
if
the
I
shadows.
get another space set up though.
I'll still be in the shadows. I'm always in the shadows.
In the dark light, losing my religion.